I doing? There I am. Am I in? Hello there. Only one Kenobi here. Only one. Let's add another man. Here he is, Tim from Boss Bounty.
Yeah, that freaked me out. I don't know what's going on there, mate. I must admit.
See, the thing is, Tim, I saw earlier that I could add video clips now. So that's the only one I had available. So I put it in. Maybe it was a bit too long, but wait for people to come in. How are you doing? And let's bring in some more people. This is Stuart of Universal.
Hello.
How are you doing, Chuck?
I'm all right, mate. You?
Chuck
Chuck
Norris.
Norris. Chuck Norris. How are you?
Yeah, Stuart, Chuck Norris. I'm all right, man. Good to see you, Stuart. Thanks for joining us. So we've got Tim from Boss Bounty, Stuart, Universal Toy Collector. First time on here, man. I've been a guest on yours, but this is good to have you, Stu. And finally,
I appreciate you inviting me on. Thank you.
Oh no, man, it's a pleasure. And finally, Mark Shabby Geek.
Hi, mate. You're right.
All right, mate. Can I just remind you we are live, mate? Can I ask you to? Can you watch your language? Don't say up. I won't say it. Oh man, how you doing, boys?
All right. Yeah.
A quick look at the chat and see who's in, and then I don't know how long the stream will be. Maybe an hour or so. If we go over that, we will. There's a kind of a few things I wanted to talk about, which is kind of old news, man. But I still wanted to touch on it. But firstly, let's have a look at this chat. We've got Tony Z, Ray Dunkley, always there. Ray Dunkley is always there, which is awesome. GA, DTM Collectibles, Des T, Georgie Norris.
Hey,
Delvian Seek.
Who's that, Stu?
Oh, no idea.
Yeah, Delvian Seek and Destroy. Justin Welch. Who was that in the background? Brett on Fett. And who else? Neil Lowry, Zero Hunter Toys, Matthew, Maininator, Rolando Flores. I think that's about it, really. It's just the same people going around. Stephen Taylor, Leonard Bart Larson, Jedi Berry, Tomb, and that is about it. That's kind of it. So welcome. And so I kind of wanted to do a live stream just to kind of do one. I haven't done a live stream for so long. I'm going to do a little duck race thing as well. Some people have qualified to win a only one Kenobi patch. So I might do that fairly soon, actually. But also the main topics I wanted to talk about were the Galactic Starcruiser. I'm going to have a little chat about that. Old news now again, but it's still interesting. Kathleen Kennedy. We could talk about her. That sort of leads into that. And that's why I got these gentlemen on. I think I couldn't pick finer people to talk about some of these topics. Maybe have a little chat about Mark Boudreaux. That was fairly recent news, the passing of him. Yeah. That was very interesting to talk about his career and, you know, what we have in our collections that he's responsible for, which is a lot. Star Wars 3/4 inch, of course, we should also be talking about that. There's not a hell of a lot that's new, really, fellas, is there? We're waiting on a lot of stuff that's kind of pre-ordered and stuff, which will be hitting soon. And maybe even some thoughts about Haslab, ladies and gentlemen. That'll be coming up before you know it. That's the SDCC, isn't it, Tim, when that's getting all dropped, is it not?
Think so, yeah.
And that's July. Am I right?
Yeah.
July's Comic-Con, yeah.
July.
Just a quick question to you guys. Regardless of what they do for the Haslab, are you going to be in for buying it?
No.
That's simple enough, Shabby, wasn't it?
Take it easy on it.
Well, from the viewpoint that I have a channel that just talks about all of this stuff, then yes, I guess, because whether something's good or bad, I'll review it. Depending on what it is and how good it is and what's included, that will determine how many I buy, I guess, because, you know, whether it has carded figures that I might want to open or, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, and, you know, my son, have to consider him as well. So, but if it's something that I really don't like, then I'll probably just buy one and review it, and then that's it.
Yeah. I was going to say that, Tim. I was thinking about this, the Razor Crest, and that did so well. And popular item, obviously, but it was again in that period of time when everybody had that extra bit of cash to nail down 100%. On things. And it tipped it right over. Didn't quite meet 30K, did it? But it was darn close. And I'm going to take it easy. I was thinking this the other day. I'm not going to be going wild like I did last time. I think I'll just be buying the one to open for me. A bit like the Jabba's Palace thing. I had 2 of them, but I cancelled one of them. It's all about this, isn't it, man? It's
yeah, that one is
really, you can never say never. It depends what it is. You know, if it's something, you know, if I'm a big Star Wars fan, so if it's something from the original trilogy or like a prequel, it hits me and I think, oh, that's awesome. Then you're always going to think that. But
thank you, Michael Hill, a big fan of all the content. Started collecting due to Bosk's bounty and only one Kenobi. Fantastic.
That's good.
Yeah,
Sorry
very good.
for spending your money.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit like that, isn't it? God, yeah, crazy stuff. I've got a lot of duplicates as well, lads, at the minute. I've been going through my carded room, as you know, and I've actually managed to get everything I own. You know, those 2 drums I bought? I didn't think I'd be able to get everything in with them, but I actually think I have, minus the Indiana Jones stuff. I'm not going to put that in, or the droid stuff, but it's all in there. But again, a hell of a lot of duplicates and triplicates of stuff that's not really doing that much on the it's not really in that much demand on the secondary market either, really. But that's just the way it is, isn't it? The TVC 1.0 is just where it's at, where it was most rare, I guess. But
those drums are a good idea, though, aren't they? Where did you get that idea from, to put those drums in?
I just had I just thought about it. I mean, there was one in work, you see, and I've been eyeing it up. Just sort of like pictured having TVC cards on that. I just ended up buying my own, you know, but it'd be good if they rotated. That would be awesome. But I'm trying to figure that out with my mate. Anyway, yeah. So what's new, fellas? Tim, you've just got back from US&A.
Yeah, that was awesome. Amazing time had out there. Met some great people, as you always do at these things. And to have that in the same year as Celebration, and meeting all the people I met at Celebration, like Scuba and Stu, obviously I've met Stu loads of times before anyway, but you know, just everyone, like you know, there's just been an awesome year for like meetups, you know.
Yeah.
Echo, we've had an Echo, Celebration, then I went to Nashville, and then we've got another Echo in October, something like that.
October, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah,
brilliant.
So it's been a good year.
Yeah, you've got a pickups video, Tim. I noticed. I haven't seen that, like I told you before. I'm going to watch that. So anyone who isn't aware that Tim has a pickups video, or what was your favorite item, Tim, from what you picked up? If you've got anything handy or whatever.
Well, this Bosk baggie is pretty rare, so I got that. Wow. That's vintage. And then I managed to pick up a TVC Landspeeder boxed, because I sold mine because I didn't want to open it because it's so minty. Like you know, this thing was like case fresh, and I thought, I can't open that. I'm going to try and get myself one that's in worse condition, and I'm happy to open it. And I managed to find that, and the box is in great condition, apart from one side's got a little bit of a dent. But to pick it up for $20, you cannot argue with that at all. So
yeah, $20.
$20. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "Yep, I'll have that. Thank you very much." Yeah.
Oh,
awesome. Check that out later.
So was it busy there, Tim?
Oh,
well,
sorry.
I had
no. Please.
So we had the So on the Friday it was the VIP day, and I believe somewhere in around 300 VIP tickets were sold. I think. I don't want to, I might get that wrong, but it felt like there was nobody there, because the way they had it set up this year is that you go into the main building, which is a little bit like where Celebration was. You've got like a center aisle, with the toilets in and everything, and then on each side you've got these big rooms, but nowhere near as big as the XL. And on one side you've got all the people signing and stuff like that, and on the other side you've got all the people selling. You could walk around and look at the tables without having to push past anybody, or it was just. And then when you walked out the back, it was like being on a ranch or something. Like, you've got all these other buildings. You had the podcast building. You had this big stage. They had a demolition derby, cars and stuff. A helicopter. They pulled out all the stops, but I think most of that was for Saturday. you know, the helicopter and that was flying around on the Friday, but there was, you know, the stage of the people, the band playing on the stage were playing to nobody because there's just not enough people to sort of fill the whole thing up, you know. So I can't comment on what it was like on the Saturday. It looked pretty busy on the Saturday, but I don't, you know, nothing on the celebration sort of levels, you know, nothing like that. But it was good. It was good being there. Yeah.
Awesome. Looked like you had a good time.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Well, on the Thursday was the best day. The day before the thing, we're just hanging out at John Action Figure Grader's house. Everyone came there. We're just playing poker, and there were some guys over from New York that were just like the funniest people, like just to listen to, you know, their accents and stuff. And playing, but you can imagine what it's like playing poker with those guys. You know, they're arguing between each other, and it's just so funny. Yeah,
were they breaking your balls, Tim?
Yeah, but they were saying that. That's the thing. Yeah,
you're busting my balls here.
Yeah, it was like that. Yeah. And one of the guys was like a complete hustler. He's like pretending he'd never played poker before. He's going, "Oh, I'm just learning over here. I'm just learning. I just want to play." But he's wiped the floor with all of us, you know.
Very good. Was that the night of the live stream when everyone kept popping in?
Yeah,
and out?
we had the live stream. So in Nashville time, it was like the afternoon, early evening. Yeah, but over here it would have been like quite late at night. Yeah, yeah. The 6 hours difference between the UK. So
yeah, cool.
Great stuff.
Yeah, awesome,
I was only going to just check in with you, Stuart. How's everything with yourself, and what's new with regards to
collection-wise? I recently found some loft pickups, well, not loft pickups, loft finds. So I've got some original Motu figures that I've recently found. They were going to get binned. I've got a few more parcels turned up that have been sat around for like a good couple of months. So I need to get them opened. I think I've got the the next 6 for the the retro collection. So I've got those. I've not opened those up yet.
You find that when you've got like a channel, you know, I used to open stuff when I got, you know, received it. Now it sits around until I'm ready. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I've done, and you know, I've got quite a bit to open up. I did a pre-recording this morning for episode 44 of My Collecting Life, which will be out next Friday. Then tomorrow morning, I'm interviewing another guy, which will be out on Monday. Don't want to give too much away about that because that's going to be pretty cool and interesting. So and then just random videos of me opening stuff or displaying stuff and changing my displays around. But other than that, all good, mate. All good.
So the banner going across the bottom there.
Look at this.
I never do that, man. I thought I'd
like Sky Sports, isn't it?
It is. Breaking news.
Look at that.
Yeah, so how are you doing, Shabby? I didn't see ZSR last night. So what's happening with the lads?
It's going all right. We just hit 104 episodes now, so that's pretty impressive. For 3 lads just to get together, and you know, because we were on that other live stream first, and we thought, we'll just do our own thing and see how it goes. And I was thinking at the time, you know, me, Matt, and Tez, we'll just see how it goes. And then we're at 104 episodes going strong, so that's pretty good.
Great.
That's 2 years. That's 2 years, isn't it? That's 2 years.
It is. That's exactly 2 years, isn't it?
2 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I was very, very fortunate with the lads I did it with. Bar one of them, you know, and I just enjoyed the company, enjoyed the banter, and I really enjoyed talking to everybody. And I just said to Matt and Tez, let's just try it on our way. It'd be a shame to leave, do you know what I mean? To leave everybody because we're having such a good time. And it's like yours, what you're doing now, Nick. We interact with the chat, and so 104 episodes now, and I think we've done a few more as well because we've done a few. When one of us doesn't make it or can't make it, the other two will do something different. Do you see what I mean? Or Shabby and Tez do this, or Matt and Tez do that, and so forth. So, and then what we've got this week, I've got a couple of videos this week coming. We're going to Joe Fest this weekend, so I've never been to Joe Fest, so that'll be pretty good. So it'd be nice to see, you know, all the lads there, and I think some of the big guns are going as well. But it'd just be nice to meet up. I think Super Awesome's coming, G-Force is coming with me, and then we've got Scuba Pete, Jeff Barker, that kind of thing. So that'd be awesome to go there because I've never been to Joe Fest. And it wasn't something that, well, I don't know whether you've done it as well. I don't remember G.I. Joe as a kid. So as I've got older, I'm fascinated by this toy line, the amount of stuff they made, the vehicles and how many different variants. It's the same as Star Wars, really, but it's like, in a way, for me, it's like a new kind of Star Wars because this is something I would have loved as a kid. You know, we had Action Force, but I just don't remember G.I. Joe. So that's going to be interesting going there. And seeing the Valaverse is all set up there. And Scuba also said it's not just G.I. Joe. There's a lot of vintage toys. There's Star Wars there. There's going to be stuff for me too there. So that'll be good. That's coming up this weekend.
Awesome.
That sounds good.
I remember I remember when the Action Force boxes and cards had G.I. Joe figures in them.
Right.
I remember like I don't know, some of the more detailed ones, because the Action Force ones were quite sort of basic, paint maps and whatever. And but in terms of the full scale of that range, some of the things that I've seen on people's channels since, you know, I've got back into collecting stuff, that line is just crazy big, isn't it? There's so many.
Well, I think it's the same as the Star Wars thing. One of the things about collecting vintage Star Wars for us and why it's got such a love for it is all the play sets we got, all the vehicles we got.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a line of figures and that's it. We got everything with it. And then you look at the G.I. Joe one and it's like that times 50. And it's like every week I see somebody with something. It's a new vehicle, and then some of the stuff they did was just great. I think it's because they didn't have films like we did that you had to. Yeah, we had mini rigs and so forth that weren't in the movies, but they didn't have movies, so they could do whatever they want basically. And some of these, you know, I saw a thing last week. It was called a map I'd never seen before. It was like a 3-cockpit helicopter, which was huge, and you could take the 2 side ones. And I'm like, this sort of stuff as a kid, this would have been right up my street. So,
Chevy, do you think that'd be a line you get into, mate?
I would get bang into it, to be honest. But it's the same as the Star Wars. I think it's hard now for. I mean, I'm one of those people that's thankful that there's people like Stan Solo, or there's people that are making the retros or the repro cards.
Yeah,
for people to get into vintage Star Wars, it's getting harder and harder. You know, some of the prices they're going through the roof. And I think if I've bought a few of the new, you know, like the new retro ones when they brought them out again. Like, hang on, I'll just show you these, for example. These kind of things. So I bought a few of them just to get the idea of what it was like. Do you see what I mean? But I haven't got the pull like Star Wars. Like when you see a vintage collection figure or when you see a Black Series, there's your pull because you're like, oh, I just got the 40th anniversary Ewok Wicket on the 6-inch card. And it's funny that because that's a card you don't really think about. But when you see it, you're like, oh man, that takes me way back.
It's a great card back that.
Do that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh yeah, they're awesome. But because I've got no connectivity to it, I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. But so I don't know whether I'll collect. I tried to do the classifieds, but they were so hard to get hold of.
The one you got there, Shabby, that's the 25th anniversary one. They do the O-ring ones now. They did I think 3 2-packs. They did the Cobra Officer and Trooper together. Storm Shadow Snake.
They stopped doing them though, haven't they, Stu? They stopped.
Yeah, I don't know why. They get onto a good thing.
Sky Striker out with all these lovely new O-ringed figures. And then they cancelled the 3.75-inch line. I can't really understand it. But
the funny thing about that, Tim, is there's so I'm in the States, obviously, you know, and there's so many things on Marketplace that are selling the Sky Striker, but not the figures, just the Sky Striker on its own, because everyone's kept the figures. I just want to get rid of the vehicles, you know. So loads of them.
Have you opened yours yet, Tim? Sorry.
No, that's what I was just going to say. The retro collection came up before, and like I really want them to do another wave straight away. You know, no waiting around. Strike when the iron's hot for the Return of the Jedi. Like you mentioned, Wicket there. He'd be on my list. I'd love that. The Wicket, and then you've got the
Royal Guard.
Royal Guard, Tim. Yeah. Admiral Akbar would be nice. The Gamma Ray Guard.
Gamma, yeah.
There's tons of other ones that could. I think they'd need to do 3. To be honest, there's so many good things they could bring out. I don't know.
We wouldn't say no to any of them, though, would we, Nick? We wouldn't say no to any
of
them.
No way, not that.
Oh yeah, I love that. You know,
I tear my hair out with the retro collection. Like as I say, fit in my room and doing all that. Like some of it's in the way now. There's a lot of like precious spaces that are getting filled by like that Mandalorian and Obi-Wan stuff and especially the Obi-Wan stuff annoys me because things like the fifth brother we haven't even had announced yet, have we, for the modern line? So anyway, and it fills up space, and I don't know if they'll ever get around to doing some of them, like that droid Ned, whatever.
Oh, Ned B.
A waste. Yeah, man, such a waste. It'd be great if we had it already, but we don't. So
the further Obi-Wan in the rear view mirror, the less chance we'll get any of it.
It's like Solo, isn't it? So I mean, I saw someone had a poster about it was on Twitter who wants Solo in the retro collection, and number 1, Solo is, as you say, in the rear view mirror, and number 2, not really, not ahead of anything else like Return of the Jedi, more Empire Strikes Back. No chance.
I've got to be honest. The only retro collection that I really got excited about was the Tarkin, and I thought when that first came out in that game, and then they brought the first wave out, I thought, here we go. This is what they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, they're releasing those 6 to like the nostalgia, get you in, and then they're going to give you all these ones like the Rebel Fleet Trooper and all these things that we want. And then because they haven't done that, I've got to admit, you know, even when they announce a new wave and it is original trilogy, I get excited for about 5 minutes and I buy them. And when I get them, I'm pretty underwhelmed, to be honest. And they just end up being in a box somewhere. Because when you've got the loose figures, the full set anyway, like in there, I don't really need them. So it's about that card. It's like, oh wow, the Scout Trooper looks great on the card, but then they ruin the card. They put all the stuff around the side and they put the sticker.
Do you think if they hadn't put that stuff around the edge in, like the weird look or the sticker on the front, do you reckon it would have been more tempting for you? Or
100%, I would have been. I would have been more inclined to display them. I don't display any of my retro collection whatsoever. There's a space issue, and I will have more room eventually, but I still don't think I don't know. I don't think I will.
There'll be a lot of older
down the back with the like they did with the original kind of cards. You had the back with the figures, and that would have been nice if they'd have done that. But
you
know,
the backs are awful of all the modern like TVC, but and that is the worst. The retros could have been done so much better than that. Yeah,
and Peak Obi-Wan there, he says, I can't buy the retro collection because it gives them just another reason to not do TVC. that does sort of play on my mind a little bit. It does, because like at the end of the day, it's, you know, they're not using an old tooling from 1983 to make these retro collection figures. They're using digital scans to make the sculpt, but they're still having to tool it up and you know, the
carbonized stuff hasn't reared its ugly head for a while, and I'm kind of hoping that it won't, because if it does, I really won't be buying any more of that.
No. I never like the novelty of them. I don't like. It's funny that because there's a lad who got me the Darth Vader, the Revenge of the Jedi, the Black Series one, and it's coming in August, which is all right. That's a convention exclusive, nice, but like the White Vader or the carbonized Scout Troopers, I was never a fan of that look. I don't like it. You know, I don't like novelty. When you're spending this type of money, especially I'm a Black Series collector, so I want to make sure that the figures look as realistic to the films or to the properties. And you know, getting a biker Scout that's all like a goldish kind of color and all shiny, it never worked for me. It just put me off.
Again, that was something that sort of resonated with me for about 10 minutes. It's like, I think I was excited for them because the Black Series had them and we didn't, you know, the TVC didn't. So it's like, you know, when they announce them in TVC, it's like, oh great, we're getting some other stuff, you know, that the line's expanding, if you like. But then after a while you think these are just pointless. Like do something else. Like repaint something.
Well, it's the same thing you had in it. You got Darth Vader in blue, that kind of, and you're like, forget it. Here he is in red. Oh, hang on, here he is in white. You're like, right, okay. You know,
you've got that Vader as well with the reddy kind of, you know, 2005 Revenge of the Sith kind of style to it as well, haven't you? Have you got that one?
I remember I tell you what, I do remember the 3 sequences, a couple of them there. Do you remember the silver ones they did? They did R2, they did Boba Fett, they did Darth Vader, and it always said 2002, 2000. I like them. They're like one-offs that you keep on the card or whatever. But I think when a figure like a Carbonized is so close to the one that's already been released, it's like 8-9 months after, then you get the same figure but in Carbonized. It's a bit, you know, they should have left it for a few years and done it that way. Like, like they've done with Archive, you know, they'll bring back a couple of figures in Archive that you didn't get, but now say, you know, like you've got the Boost from 2013, you got the Obi-Wan, that kind of thing. If they would have left it 7 or 8 years and then done a Carbonized like a one-off, I think that people would like them a bit more, appreciate them a bit more, but not just round the corner, you know.
Yeah, so Stuart, you've got the new retros to open. You were saying before the latest, the R2-3PO wave, correct?
Yeah. So that's still in the box that it came mailed in. So I've not opened that yet. I mean, the thing is, I'm in no rush. I mean, you guys are, you know, I know you get your reviews and you get them out and stuff like that. I'm in no rush, and it just and half the time with old age, I'll just forget I get stuff and I just put it down, leave it there, and that's it. Leave it for a few weeks and then forget all about it. But Yeah, so I've got them to open, and I've got the 3 Jabba's Goons as well. The one that came out. Who was it? Roof. Cheetah,
great
and
figures.
Who was the other one? Yeah. I've still got them to open as well. So I've got another set of them that's arrived. So
when you say open, do you mean take them off the card or take them out of the shipper box?
Take them out the shipper box. and then what I do is once I take them out the shipper box, I put them in another pile and leave them there for about another 2 or 3 months. And they're just like, I need to open those. And then, do you know what I mean? It's crazy. The front room's just full of boxes at the moment. So not as bad as yours though, Tim. I remember that picture you showed me at Celebration, mate.
Yeah,
it's not as bad as that. That was impressive. I will say that.
Yeah, something's got to be done about it, I think.
Oh, dear.
Excellent. Yeah, just very quickly, just on the same topic. You mentioned before, Tim, about the Tarkin. I did think about him as well. You know, around about the time they announced all that in the first wave of the vintage collection, I'd sort of seen in the wild for the first time reaction figures. Or is it reactor or reaction?
Reaction.
Yeah. Now figures,
Super 7 reaction figures.
That's it. Yeah, I don't really like the look of those figures. They look like they're kind of like the plastic's a bit iffy or something. But I love the card backs, but I thought that was it. Just to reiterate something you said before, I thought, wow, this is what they're going to do. They're going to fill gaps, give us a bit of this, that, the other. But it hasn't quite worked out that way. But one hopes you will get the Rebel Trooper. That's something that I always think about, that, or the Sand Trooper. Man, that would be really good.
If Hasbro ever want to learn how to properly do a card back, then they should look at Super 7. Yeah. Thick cards, decent images, decent backs, you know.
Yeah, man, they work, don't they? It's all good. Anyway, so should we get on to one of the topics that I want to discuss? Again, old news in a way, but it's still ongoing because it's that Galactic Starcruiser is going to be there for a long while, just sat there, unless they bulldoze it, which I don't know if they would do that. But anyway, so it's just the Galactic Starcruiser, and I got these guys on specifically because, Tim, you've been to Walt Disney World, and dare I say you enjoy the parks and all that. Stuart Norris, I know you do, and Shabby Geek, you can't stand the sequel, so I thought you'd be perfect for this one, mate.
I hate them. You know what? The funniest thing is about the prequels, one of my favorite experiences was
sequels.
The build-up. Sorry, the sequels was the build-up to The Force Awakens. As Star Wars fans, that was none of us. We've loved this thing for 40 years, and we're all in our 40s, so we've grown up with it. We did not wake up one morning and go, right, today I'm going to hate Star Wars. I'm going to piss everybody off. I'm going to slag it off. None of us ever did, you know. And that's the thing. But one of the things I did love about it was the Force Awakens atmosphere. You know, the trailers were back. There's new figures in. Everyone's talking about Star Wars again, and it's just a shame what happened afterwards. Basically, it's
what happened, Shabby?
Well, it just went. It was a farce, wasn't it? Honestly, it's like, you know, oh God, it was so bad. I went to see Force Awakens and I thought, it's all right, and you know, I gave it a pass because I thought, listen, it is a lot like A New Hope, right?
I quite enjoyed it, Shabby.
Yeah, it's the one where, and I think as well, looking back now, it was the first time you were going to the cinemas since 2005 to see a Star Wars movie. You know what I mean? So it's all back and it's all. And then I went to see it the very next day with my daughter couldn't come. She was at a party, so I took her the next day. Just give me an excuse to go again. And that's when I thought, it's very much like A New Hope. But I thought, right, well, they're off, you know, they're off to the races now. They've made it. The second one's going to be awesome. And I'm arguing with everybody. Oh no, don't get me wrong. And I have never come out of a cinema so perplexed in my life. I don't know what you three thought. I just didn't know what to think. I just thought that's probably the worst movie I've ever seen, let alone Star Wars.
Just buried it, didn't it? I mean, all these people, the people who do like it, I always say this. I'm quite jealous of those people because I don't want to be like, feel how I feel about it all. But I've got to say, even those people who liked it, right? Did they like the fact that I'll never forgive them for killing Luke, should we say? Because I could roll with the storyline. He was a bit out of place and he's lost his way, but then he sort of comes back. Although there's people who say, well, why didn't he show up? Why did he force project himself? He could have just gone there. But that's a separate argument. What it is the fact that he died and they knew damn well Carrie Fisher had passed and we had no Harrison. It was madness.
Well, they killed a main hero in each one, didn't they?
You knew it was coming.
And also in the last one, they pretended to kill Chewie, and then said, "Oh no, he's still alive." Gotcha. Do you know what I mean?
I think the thing that got me the most was the fact that the thing that got me the most is that they never had Luke, Han, and Leia in a scene together in any of those films. Well, do you know what I mean? They had the opportunity to do that in The Force Awakens, and they never did it.
You see, I can't agree with Nick when he was saying, I can see where I was heartbroken. I was absolutely heartbroken what they did to Luke Skywalker. It was an absolute farce from start to finish. These are characters that aren't real. These are characters that, the make-believe characters. And for the past 40 years, from 1977, all you've heard about Luke is being the hero. You know what I mean? The guy to look up to, the guy to aspire to, and so forth. They made it too realistic. I didn't want to go to the cinema and see an old man sitting in a hut. Do you know, The Empire Strikes Back, the reason it has that ending is because Luke knew what he had to do and save his friends, knowing what would happen. And all of a sudden now, Han's died, his sister's in trouble, and he's not bothered. It didn't make any sense to me at all. The worst thing is, as well, a month before it came out, The Last Jedi, the book, The Legends of Luke Skywalker. I don't know whether any of you have ever read it or not. And it's stories about Luke throughout the galaxy, throughout the years. And when you're reading these stories, a month before The Last Jedi comes out, it got you so hyped. It's like, this is the Luke we're going to see. This is it, And it's.
No, let's just be clear here, Shabby. I didn't enjoy how he behaved. His attitude was horrible, wasn't it? Go away. Leave this island now. It was awful. And then also the thing, oh my God, I would have enjoyed the film 100% more. Lightsaber toss. I'll never forgive
That's how they got me.
That.
Yeah. I remember the mum joke at the start, and I thought, hang on a minute. You remember the mum joke, Tim? Hang on. I remember stopping and thinking, oh no, because we'd heard it all. Do you remember for the last 3 months we'd heard how crap this movie was, how Mark Hamill didn't enjoy it, how Rian Johnson's changed this, and they're all coming out in those interviews, aren't they? Going, well, it's a little bit different, and we're all going, oh no. But when I first heard that joke, and then when he threw that lightsaber over his shoulder,
we've been waiting 2 years to see what. Oh, terrible decision.
I watched The Empire Strikes Back on the plane over to Detroit, is where I stopped on the way to Tennessee. So I was looking through all the films and I thought, Empire Strikes Back, why not? And I was watching the bit on Dagobah where Luke has the vision, of his friends in pain and whatever, and Yoda says, you shouldn't go, you should stay and finish your training, and he's like, no, I've got to go. That is Luke Skywalker. And I thought, how can you get from that and what happens in Return of the Jedi to fighting his own father when he doesn't really want to, and then throwing the lightsaber away because he doesn't want to, he doesn't want to sort of succumb to the Emperor and whatever. How do you get from that to what you see at the beginning of The Last Jedi and that sort of arc?
You see, Tim,
nothing to me can happen in that space of time to change him. Do you know what I mean? In fact, he should get older and wiser, even more.
Oh, yeah. I was going to meet them halfway on that whole angle because, we hadn't seen The Last Jedi when we saw him on the island for The Force Awakens at the end of that, and we didn't know what was going on really. But I thought that he was doing this thing of just taking a bit of time, patience, regrouping, meditating, whatever, getting himself together for the final push, hiding away, taking his time. I could have accepted that. But then when he was saying he didn't want to get involved in The Last Jedi and go away.
But he was even shocked that Han had died.
Aimed to die.
Oh, but he didn't know that because he'd cut himself off from the Force. I'm sorry, but that's just BS. That's nonsense.
It's like when he says in that movie, he goes, "Where's Han?" Then it cuts to something else, and you're like, "This is a pivot. This is the reason these movies are being made because of the characters you're talking about, and you've just cut off to something else." It was just it makes it honestly, and I think you started off this podcast by saying, I know it's a bit old news, but it's not old to us. We still hold this bitter thing to us all because of how emotionally tied. Look at the movies around us; they're all tied to this, and I think that's what it is.
So that brings us to this Galactic Starcruiser, which had obviously a myriad of problems from the start with the 6,000. Well, I think that the number is 6,000 that gets thrown around a lot, but I think that is for a full family, isn't it? But still,
Family of 4 for 2 nights.
Money for 2 nights.
That's crazy.
It was all. Do you remember, lads, when the trailer came out, which that went down like a lead balloon as well? The trailer, it got taken down by Disney as well. The trailer, because it was very cheesy, man, with that the singer and all that. They misfired on that trailer, but again, it's buried and it's intertwined with that era of post Force Awakens, and then you've got the news of the Rey movie as well, which we could talk about that, but it's not really looking very good. And I don't know how we're going to navigate out of this defunct period of the storyline.
Well, it looks like they're doing something for everyone in these films, doesn't it? You've got the Rey one for the new fans, you've got the Old Republic one for the sort of EU fans, and then you've got the Mando era film for the current sort of Mando's sort of OT connected, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're trying to do there. But just quickly, just going back to the park itself, rather than talking about The Last Jedi. When I went to Galaxy's Edge, I did feel like I was in like a Star Wars-y world. So I'm going to give them props for that. That, you know, they've built it incredibly well. The marketplace is brilliant. The sort of places that you go into, the droid factory and all that are great. You wouldn't really know that you're in a new media place until you see the occasional character rolling about, which I understand that they're starting to bring in Mando-esque characters in now anyway.
They are, yeah.
And of course, the rides are based on, you know, you see Rey on the Falcon ride and you see Kylo Ren on the, but they're still awesome rides. I don't think you can go to a park like Disneyland and Galaxy's Edge and really have a terrible time. You know, that's what I think. I think I had a great time. My kids loved it. Would it be better if it was, you know, if Vader was rocking around and normal stormtroopers were rocking around, and the sort of storyline of while you're there is more OT centric? Then yes, of course. But I don't think the fact that it was all new media that it didn't ruin it for me. That's what I'm trying to say. But the Starcruiser thing, I think I put a tweet out about it when they said it was cancelled. I could see it coming a mile off. Nobody can afford it. No real normal person. You're pandering to the rich, and when they've seen it once, that's it. They don't want to go again. You're not going to get the repeat people that want to go to Disneyland every year, you know. And I just can't believe. Well, I can believe what's happened, but what I can't believe is what they're going to do with it. Just let it sit there and rot. Surely you shouldn't be so greedy. Why don't you just like reduce the price and say?
Well, they did that. They tried that, didn't they, Tim? But they only did it for the cast members. That was it. And then they went into the annual pass holders and said you can have like, well, even with the discount, it was like $3 or $4 grand. The funniest thing for me is it was a good idea to do that, and I thought, yeah, it'd be interesting, but it was the price. Remember, it's a family of 4 or 5, so you've got to convince your missus. And if you're lucky enough, your missus loves Star Wars, but like mine, she's not interested in all this stuff. So I've got to convince my wife and my children who couldn't care less, going, well, the thing is, we can either go on a week's cruise, or we can go around this, or we can go, we can spend 2 nights in a hotel playing Let's Pretend for $6 grand. You're never going to talk your family into it, are you? You know, how are you supposed to talk your wife into that? And I don't know.
I think we'd all be interested if the price was lower and it was just more accessible. We'd all have a bit of that as Star Wars fans, regardless of the sequel era, whatever. You get in there, wouldn't you? You'd sample it if it was just like an extension of the theme park, which it could be like a explore it. It's like an open space, isn't it? A big ship to go roaming around and maybe even have a sleep, you know, one night, whatever. I don't know, man. But
I mean, I think for the rides, you've just got to take away the fact that they revolve around the sequels. I went on Rise for the first time last year, Rise of Resistance, and I've got to say the experience was absolutely phenomenal. It really was. I mean, the way they've done the ride, you don't get, you know, you go in that shuttle, then you come out in that Star Destroyer bay, and you've got all those stormtroopers in front of you, and it's like you're on the dock of one of the, you know, the First Order Star Destroyer. It is fantastic. Take away the fact, if you can take away the fact that it's from a sequel, and just enjoy the experience for what it is. It is an absolutely phenomenal ride, and it's the same with Smuggler's Run. Who doesn't want to be in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, flying the Falcon? I mean, we were wanting to do that when we were kids. You know, I mean, I got motion sickness, but that's beside the point. But other than that, again, it's just an absolutely fantastic experience. It really is. And
yeah, but it's like the
Disney...
Go on, Stu. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say Disney do a lot of things right. They really do. I mean, you can't. I mean, I suppose you can fault the parks to some extent because of how they've changed since COVID. But the way they entertain, the way they look after their guests, it's just absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant, amazing.
You can't knock that, for entertainment.
Yeah, I will say this, Stuart, that I know people who wouldn't step in there because they hate the sequel so much. But for me, thankfully, thank the good Lord, I at least loved. I don't like it anymore, but I loved The Force Awakens. So for me, that whole Batu thing is a brand new planet, which I'd like to explore that and see it because I've never been before. But it is still, because I have that warm thing that I like. I love The Force Awakens, should we say. So that Rise of the Resistance is almost like The Force Awakens, the ride, if you will. So there's a bit of a pull still for me. You know what I mean? It's not.
Oh, you're going to love it. You're going to love it, Nick.
You will like it. The others. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, though, about the hotel, about what he was saying about the Disney rides. That's the other thing, too. You've got 2 nights at this hotel for $6,000. And one of those days is in Galaxy's Edge for the full day. Well, you could go there for only $130 anyway.
Well, I know, it's madness, isn't it? Yeah.
That was another thing.
Totally.
I was watching this thing where the drinks are $150 for a big bottle that drinks 4 people, or $40 for this, $30, and I'm thinking that should all be in for $6,000. That should all be in, all of it.
It's very disappointing.
The concept is good.
What you said, Stuart, like for a company that gets it so right, they get it right, don't they? They know what they're doing with regards to their parks and their hospitality, everything. But that was not right.
Oh no!
Go on, Stuart. You were going to say something then.
Sorry. I was going to say the concept of the hotel is a fantastic idea, but they, like everybody said, the pricing. I mean, the average person's not going to be able to afford that. They are pricing pricing working class families out of doing that. I mean, we had a 2-week holiday in Florida, 3 nights on a cruise on the Disney Wish, and that cost less than 2 nights at this hotel.
Amazing.
It's just ridiculous. I mean, what were they thinking with the pricing on that? I don't understand it. Yes or no, it's an interactive experience. Huh?
I'd rather go to Star Wars Celebration than I would 2 nights in Batu.
How much did it cost them to build it? Was it $2 billion? I heard. Was that right?
Yeah.
Well, I think that was across everything, but it could be some up to 500 million at least. But
just for the Starcruiser bit.
I'd like to think it cost them $2 billion for that hotel, because that's ridiculous. I think that was across everything, maybe Galaxy's Edge related. So I'd like to hope so, but even 500 million's
I've been following it. I've been dead intrigued since day one. And the story goes, they were talking about it and doing all the things about it when The Force Awakens was just about to come out. And they had this thing about doing it original and prequel and doing all, and I mean, like a Tatooine over there and having Andor over here and that kind of thing. But when The Force Awakens came and it made over $2 billion, it was Kathleen Kennedy and I think Iger that had the assumption, well, people are loving it. So that's what it was. They didn't wait to see what happened with the rest of the trilogy. They saw that. They saw it made over $2.5 billion, that everyone's talking about Star Wars again. And that's why they turned Galaxy's Edge and the hotel into the new sequels, Well,
what do you think? I thought Kathleen Kennedy would have known better. She's been part of Star Wars for a long, long time. I thought she would have known better.
It's crazy.
I mean, if it wasn't for like Star Wars Empire and Return of the Jedi, we wouldn't have Star Wars at all. We wouldn't have Galaxy's Edge. No. It's because of those 3 films that everything's sort of like built around.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to put this super chat up before it gets lost, but this was Neil Lowry just talking about earlier. The biggest miss, in my opinion, was not running with the fact that the twins, run in the Skywalker bloodline. Yeah, I presume you're talking about Rey and Kylo there, maybe. I thought
they did there was Jason, there was Anakin, and there was Jaina, weren't there? You could have done that.
They should have been siblings. In The Force Awakens when they were fighting in the forest, I thought that was sibling rivalry, and it was just, but it didn't happen. Anyway, but still, there you go. Thank you, Neil, for the, what is that, super chat? Was that? Yes, it is a super chat. Thank you, man. Brilliant. Let's keep talking about that. Sorry, I cut everyone off there. Sorry, I just wanted to just bring that up because that was ages ago he posted that. Sugar.
Chevy, you live in the States. I don't know how true this is, but apparently, I mean, I'm sure I heard this from my cousin because he lives in Florida. It's cheaper to leave a building where it is than to demolish it and then build a new one.
Yeah,
is that true?
Exactly right. Yeah, because it's a lot. There's a lot of land over here. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And Disney's been getting away with it in Florida for years because where that all was in the 56, it was all swampland. That's all it was. So it was cheap to buy. And that's why Disney got
3 square miles.
Florida. Exactly. And you're buying all this land and obviously different things have come in, you know, the administration that's in Florida now. I'm not going to get political on a toy channel, but it's a little bit different. You know, the kind of hang on a minute, what's going on here? Do you see what I mean? But I think that's what it is. The thing about Disney to me is why they've kept so adamant about keeping the sequel trilogies, because look at the other merchandise and look at the other franchises they have that will. So if one of them loses money, the other one skyrockets. You got your theme parks, you got ABC, MS, all those TV channels, Hulu. Then you've got Marvel. Then you've got, you know, the Pixar. So it all blends out, I think. Hence why they stay firm with keeping it sequels, as if to say, no, let people, the passion will run down and then people will accept it. Like they did with the prequels. Some of them, you know, 10, 15 years, everybody will like them. I always liked them. So I don't know.
Well, I've got to say this, lads. What do you think about because I've not been yet to Galaxy's Edge. I can't wait to go. It'll be this summer and see it all. But I actually quite like the idea of it being a new place, because there's a lot of people out there who are saying it should be Tatooine. Why didn't they do that? And I think that a lot of us are, frankly, a little bit sick to death of Tatooine. We've had that in a lot of films, and it would no doubt be great, and it would work in that climate, except for when it rained, though. I could not picture Tatooine in tropical rainstorms, man. But still, I think the Batuu thing's quite good, man. It's a fresh, new playing field. It's a bit of everything, so I quite like that.
Yeah.
I think there is the argument that you... Sorry, Stu.
Sorry, Tim. No, go on.
I was just about to say, I think there's the argument that, you know, pandering to our age group of people isn't going to last forever. And Shabby's right. The Force Awakens was a huge success. And you have got people that grew up with the prequels that for them, the prequels are the best films. You know, I know people that think that the Revenge of the Sith is the best Star Wars film out of any of them. And now you're getting people on Twitter saying, you know, The Last Jedi is the best. They're putting it above Empire Strikes Back, which to me is absolutely absurd, but they are saying that, and even people of our age are doing that because I think they're trying to protect the brand. They don't want to be sort of, you know, haters, you know. But it's all right, as Shabby said, it's all right not to like it. We didn't wake up one day thinking we just want to hate Star Wars.
Exactly.
But I think what Disney are thinking is that maybe, you know, they've got to sort of evolve it. They've got to create something new to attract new people, because Tatooine and Hoth and all those great places that we know from the films, you know, Andor, you know, they want something new. And Batuu, as I said, you can walk around Batuu. You've been, have you, Stu? Have you been?
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but regardless of what it's called, I felt like I was in somewhere Star Warsy, you know? It didn't really matter what it was called. You know, it didn't have to be a sandy planet or a woody planet or whatever. It was just a planet that I felt was Star Warsy. So that was enough for me, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, when you say
Eric's somewhere, isn't it? It's a bit of everything.
When Finn and Rey start running around past you or whatever, then you're a bit like, oh, I wish that was, you know, Han and Leia or whatever. But it's
that's
not
the exciting thing. They could do that, and people have talked about it, a total rebrand or whatever. If they will and when they'll do that is another question. But you can't beat that nostalgic magic, man, can you? Seeing an original trilogy Stormtrooper and all that, and Vader, and they're so popular, and it does. Yeah, I don't know, man.
But they can do it like that as well. Look at Andor. Andor's your prime example where you take an era of Star Wars that we all love, the Empire, the Rebellion, and Andor was unbelievable. It was by a mile the best TV show that they've ever done. It treated the fans like we already knew what's going on. You know, when you saw the ISP office and you saw that they didn't have to, you know, spend 10 minutes explaining to us what this is. We knew what it was, and they left that.
It's got its critics though, Shabby, hasn't it? Though, let's be honest. But I personally loved it, and I appreciated the fact that it had been extensively planned, seemingly. You know what I mean?
I think the biggest I think personally, this is what I hear. The biggest criticism of it is that it's very adult and very serious and very dark, and you know, and in some people's world, Star Wars should always be fun to begin with. It should be fun and enthusiastic, and you know. that's some people's opinions, and you know, I'm not going to say that they're wrong, but for me, I like it when there's all different types of Star Wars. Like,
yeah,
you know, I love the Clone Wars for what it is. You know, I like the Mandalorian for what it is. Andor for me was where I am now in my life and how old I am. That hits the right beat. But my son, who's 10, he loves the Mandalorian. He loves the Book of Boba Fett. He got bored of Andor after 2 episodes and he couldn't get back into it. So there's that sort of, you know, balance.
Yeah. But it's like what you said at the start, when these movies, the Rey movie, the Dawn movie, that they're making them for everybody in a way, you know what I mean?
Looks like that. It looks like that's what they're doing, yeah.
Yeah, they should have done that.
Shabby, I liked her. I still like Daisy Ridley a lot, but I just think that it's just in tatters. That's all, you know, regardless of it being new stuff. But the carnage they've left behind with the original trilogy to make that is outrageous. I was always up for something. We all were.
It's like having a girlfriend that's really fit, but does nothing but piss you off for 4 years. You know what I mean? And then she goes away, and she comes back, and you're like, oh, all right, I'll take her back then. But it's still, there's always that thing. I honestly thought she'd be in fitness by now.
Shabby analogies. I love that. That's
I'm really taking these fitness to see Daisy. It was a shock. I've got to admit, if they paused it and said to all Star Wars fans, who do you think is going to come out that door as the new Star Wars star? I don't think any of us would have said Rey. Do you know what I mean? I think we would have gone, well, maybe this, that. So I was shocked.
Yeah, they wrecked her, man. See, I loved her in The Force Awakens, and she was like fixing the, you know, salvaging stuff on the Star Destroyer and everything. And then Classified, really, you know, when she was fixing BB-8 and all that, I was sucked in. I remember sitting in the cinema thinking, I'm sold on her, man. Let's go with this. It's all right, you know.
Yeah,
I thought some of her acting was terrible, to be honest. I really did.
It doesn't go good. And I was like, come on, man.
Oh, I know what you mean. Oh, yeah, that bit. Yeah.
But Nick, I watched one of your videos. It must have been a week or so ago now, and you said a good analogy about the sequels, about a car, like a joyrider or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That was really good. That is exactly.
You like that, man?
I did. Yeah,
I've put that in many. Sorry, Tim, go on.
I wouldn't be able to come up with something like that, but you nailed it.
No, I've put that in many a comment section on many a video. But all it is what The Force Awakens was like I'd say it was a new vintage car. So a new car, and it had vintage styles or whatever. So it was warmly familiar, but it was brand new and flash, and wow, this is good. And then, yeah, The Last Jedi is Rian Johnson taking it for a reckless joyride with no consideration for any of the consequences of his actions behind the wheel. And then The Rise of Skywalker is the car wreck at the end.
Oh, The Rise of Skywalker is like they've gone into a nursery with a bunch of crayons and said, right, Star Wars, and all these kids are going, right. It was that bad.
It's beyond repair, though, Shabby. He took that. In fact, he took that car down a cul-de-sac or a dead end, and it's like, right, what do we do now?
The thing is, Disney bought all of Star Wars for $4.5 billion. They bought the lot, right? Everything. So you'd think they would have gone to people like, I know, Paul S. Kemp or Timothy Zahn, all these people that kept it going through the dark times, you know, with your the Empire trilogies, or your the Shadows of the Empire, or Lords of the Sith. There's been some great books out there, not necessarily to get them writing and so forth, or go to a Star Wars celebration and talk to the fans, feed people out. I would have preferred it if they would have done the sequels and made Han, Luke, and Leia a myth, a martyr. This is what happened 100 years ago. There was these people called the Rebellion, and done it that way. So you still mention our characters, and we're going to be, oh, that's awesome that they've done that. And gives new characters something to build on. Well, I've heard about this Luke Skywalker. I've heard about this Princess Leia, who was a young princess who became head of the Rebellion. Done it that way, but it's like what Tim said before. When you saw Han Solo go in the first one, you knew what was going to happen next. You knew what was going to happen, and it did. And you're like, I can't believe this. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that was the only reason they got Harrison Ford back into it, wasn't it? Because he wanted to originally die in Return of the Jedi, but then George Lucas was like, "No, I'm not having that," because of like figure sales and merchandise and stuff like that. So the only way they could get him back was by granting his wish by killing him off.
Yeah.
With Leia and Luke, I obviously with what happened with Carrie Fisher, you can't sort of like skirt around that. But with Luke, I just don't.
But they did skirt around it, didn't they? They didn't. They use CGI to keep her in it. Like,
I know they could have used that scene when Kylo blasted her out of the ship, and obviously, and then you would have, if she died then. Then
don't go there. Don't say that. I know what you're going to say. That
Mary Poppins.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But that, do you know what I mean? They had a million ways they could have got around that. Her death.
Look at the lightsaber, Master Kanato. I've got this. How do you get that? I'll tell you at another time. Then the other thing, I've got something to tell you. Never tells her. Somehow we return. You're like, who writes this stuff? Do you know what I mean? It's like,
so who do you blame for this? Is it Kathleen Kennedy or Disney?
Both.
Who's to blame? Kathleen Kennedy or Disney?
I don't know. The thing about Star Wars is it's one of those things where you know the sound designer, you know the editors, you know everybody. It's one of those things, and it's like you would have thought when they did the dailies or did something, someone who's been at that company was going to turn around and go, "This they ain't going to like this."
That. Yeah, don't do that.
Do not do this. This is what's kept our franchise going. It's like me and Tim have children all left the same age, and we start our kids off with the original trilogy. This is what it is, because it's a time. We went to see Return of the Jedi last month, and I took my 18-year-old, and his girlfriend came. Had nothing to do with Star Wars, hasn't a clue, never seen him. She absolutely loved that movie, and I thought, because it's a 40-year-old movie, the place was packed, and it's a timeless classic. To me, the way they put so much agenda and political stuff and modernized the sequel trilogy, it's not going to age well. It's always going to feel in 10 years from now, like 2017, 2020, that's when everyone was talking like this. And that's the difference. Keep all that nonsense out. Get these. It's like they're all on strike, the writers over here. And I can't see the difference. Do you know what I mean? It's like, who's going to write this? And
AI.
The thing is, what you're saying there, Shabby, yeah. I mean, I personally, for me, I watch a film for escapism. Right? Because we're all sick and tired of the mundane rubbish that life throws at us. It's it's day in, day out. If it's not one thing, it's something else. Why bring modern day politics into the movies, into things that we loved? It just doesn't sit well with me. I don't go to watch a film for modern day politics. I go there to escape modern day politics and modern day life and get enjoyment and excitement out of it. I don't know about you guys, how you feel about that.
Same way. It's like Return of the Jedi was packed, and it was such a great experience. Did any of you go and see it in England, the 40th?
Yeah. Except you're in America. I bet you there was a lot of cheering and hollering, because I watched a few reviews of people live. You don't do that over here. I know you're not American, Shabby, but that adds to. I quite like that though. Like even when you're in the queue, Stuart, for Big Thunder Mountain, you can hear a few people go, "Woohoo! Yeah!"
God, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I just find it funny that a film from 40 years ago can get you going to the cinema, packed, and coming out going, "That was awesome." A film you've seen 10,000 times, and you're like, "That was fantastic." Do you know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. You build Star Wars itself has always been number one to us, because of the expectation, because of these movies, because of these characters. Again, going back to what I was saying before about the directors and the sound design, we know everybody from Ralph McQuarrie to Doug Chang. Do you know what I mean? Everyone that's been involved in it. Which is very
there was talk of him. His name came up with regards getting him to manage Lucasfilm. Man, his name did come up on I think it was somebody, WDW Pro or somebody.
That goes back to Stu's question: who's to blame, Kathleen Kennedy or Disney? It's got to be Kathleen Kennedy, isn't it? Because she is head of Lucasfilm, right?
And it must go for the Starcruiser. Yeah.
Well, not necessarily just not. Sorry, Tim, I wasn't talking about Starcruiser. I was just talking about.
I'm just saying, even with that. So, and I did cut you off, Tim. I'm sorry, but even with that, I think a lot of it. She must have a say in that as well. I know it's a Disney thing, it's a Parks thing, but they're going to turn to her. They're going to ask for feedback from Lucasfilm. What should we do? Is this good? What guide?
Yeah, but she's won Lucasfilm like Frank Lampard ran Everton.
but equally, Shabby, like you can't you can't sort of blame her for the sequels and then not give her the credit for Mandalorian and Andor just because Dave Filoni and blah blah blah. Because people say, "Oh well, it's Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and they didn't let her anywhere near it." Well, I'm not sure if I believe that. Like, I think she's to blame as much as a lot of people, but also the things that have gone well. You can't just say it's got nothing to do with her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
I
can't
think
think
with everything, I think with anything in life, you could probably look at her back catalogue of films, and she's like the executive producer or whatever. You know, what do these people actually do? What decisions do they actually make? I don't know, but you know, she's got a lot of good shit on her. Excuse me. She's got a lot of good stuff.
Who are you, Mark Shabby? Yeah, I know what you mean, Tim.
She's got a lot of good stuff on her back catalogue in her repertoire, hasn't she? But she's probably got a lot of failures as well. You know, you don't sort of hear about.
Well, that's a producing role. That's the thing. This is a head of a company, and that's
yeah.
I'm never sat there watching Close Encounters and go, "Oh, the way Kathleen Kennedy produced that movie, unbelievable." No wonder.
I know. That's the thing. You don't really know what they do. You know?
Exactly. But with in your head, sometimes I think George Lucas did it on purpose. I thought she's such a pain in the ass. We'll give it to her and she'll put it in. I honestly think that.
People say she should be more in a subordinate position, not because she's a woman, obviously, but just because she would like being previously. We need this, like a production manager. You know, we need this, that, the other, logistics and all of that, and she would get it done. But at the helm, at the top of the creative pyramid, there's those who say that ain't working. But I know what you mean.
As a producer, you would have had a lot of say.
I loved Kathleen Kennedy. I saw Rogue One and I left the place. I thought, this is working, man. I'm quite happy with what's happening here. And again, when I saw The Mandalorian, her name's on the credits there, and you think, well, it wouldn't have happened because without her, she's at the helm. But then there's people who say there's two factions at Lucasfilm, which is just probably...
Well, we don't really know.
We don't know, do we?
Yeah.
No. I was going to say, I thought a producer would have had a fair bit to say. I mean, this is... So... Me and my wife, we took a play up to Edinburgh in 2015, Rent, and it was like a rock musical. And we were producers, so we organised everything. We got everything, you know, sorted out, like venue, the cast, the band, everything like that. We had a director, we had a musical director, and we had a choreographer. And we were quite naive because it was the first time we'd ever done anything like that. But as producers, I didn't know this until after we did the show, but as producers, we could have gone in, we could have watched something and said, right, we don't like that. You need to change it. If we'd have known that, there would have been things that I would have changed about that show that we put on. But because I didn't know that at the time, I just left it as it was. But there were certain things in that show that I didn't like and I didn't feel comfortable with. And when I went to question them about it, they said, like, you guys are just the producers, you foot the money and leave it the rest to us. And I was like, okay, because I didn't realize. But then afterwards, I got talking to another friend who is like a musical director. He turned around and said, as a producer, we could have then turned around and said, we don't like that, we want it changed.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that would have been the same with Kathleen Kennedy and the sequel, surely, if she was producer.
There's something there. I mean, it's all the stories you hear. All these directors that have been fired, all these stories that have been thrown out, and they go on to do bigger and better things. You know, I mean, I don't think Colin Trevorrow was really upset about Star Wars when he makes the Jurassic. Well, granted, they weren't brilliant, but they made a sugar ton of money, didn't they? So there's always her name's always brought up, but it doesn't help as well when you're seeing agenda T-shirts and this and that and saying stuff about 50. I've never been that. You know, it's funny. You just mentioned something about Rey, and it's nothing to do with a girl. Well, we all hated Luke Skywalker, majority of us, in The Last Jedi. You know, that's a character we've known for years, and we disliked him because of the way he was. It's the same as Rey. She could have been an awesome character. You know, she could have been fantastic. They gave her a different lore, brought her down a little bit, but there was no story thing with her. She's been on a desert all that time, and then she can do that yacht to the Death Star, that big, massive storm in the sea, and you're like, it doesn't make sense, you know? Things like that, you know?
Didn't seem that well planned at all, man.
No, not at
in
all.
the end, yeah. Well, somebody brought us on to Kathleen Kennedy there. That was my second subject area there. So we've actually gone over an hour here, boys, and we haven't even got our teeth into this. Is great in a way. We've
awesome stuff.
So should we move on? Well, I suppose very quickly, you were talking about Thrawn earlier, right? I'd like to get the Thrawn trilogy. I presume I would be able to buy it, the books or whatever, but I went to with the BOE to the London Forbidden Planet looking for it there, but they didn't have it. But have you boys read the Thrawn trilogy, and how much of that stuff in the Ahsoka series do you predict?
I've got one of the books. I've not read it yet because I don't wear my glasses, so I can't see the print, and then I feel sick. So I've not got around to reading it yet, but I'd like, I think from what I've seen of him in Rebels, especially, I think he's going to be a great character. Hopefully,
different though in the books than he is on movies. Yeah. In the books, they don't portray him as a baddie at all. At all. He's a guy. He's a tactician, and he's a sort of general in the Chiss ascendancy that knows what he's doing. It just comes naturally to him, you know. And that's the thing. You've got to. He's a bit like Tarkin in a way, where Tarkin never thought it was evil. You know, he was just doing his job, and this is what he's supposed to do. They're the enemy to him. You write like the books. I mean, the Timothy Zahn books. I mean, even the new Thrawn, where he's put him in a different era of Star Wars now. You know, but the way he writes him is incredible. He's definitely a one-off character. If they stick with that,
Shabby, does the new Thrawn trilogy retcon the other one?
Yeah, in a way it does. He's still the same
because
character.
the new one's like new canon, right? And the other one's EU. Yeah.
Yeah, he started off at the end of Aftermath, the books by Chuck Wendig. They were all going Sloan and this and that, and there was a guy that was setting up something, and the guy was Thrawn, and that's what they'll probably put in the Ahsoka one. Doesn't say it, but you know exactly who it is. Well, the books is the same character, but it's set in a different era now, you know, and that's the thing. Now they've done it like there's the new book, the second one, he meets up with Anakin Skywalker when he's Anakin Skywalker. And in the second one, he meets up as Darth Vader, and he knows who he is. You know, he can kind of work it out and that kind of thing. Whereas the Heir to the Empire books, he's one who takes over the Empire in a way and carries it on from there.
Because I've read Heir to the Empire, but maybe 20 years ago now. I don't think I ever read the other two, if I'm honest. But from what I remember about that book, he's basically got his own armada, right? And he's in charge of, like, I don't know, a battalion of ships, right? Is that right?
Exactly right. And
do some people not believe that the Emperor's even dead? Isn't that right? I seem to remember something about that in something I read.
No,
they don't even believe that he's dead, or they hear voice recordings of him or something, so they still think he's like in control.
Those missionary guys. They put it in the comics. Remember the guys that wore red and it had his visor, and it was the Emperor in that.
Yeah.
I can't remember whether they put that in the book or not, but I think they do know he's died, and that he's kind of left the Chiss. He's kind of an outcast to them because he went over to the Empire. That's what they're saying in the new ones. You know that he has his own armada. You're exactly right. And the majority of the books are set in Star Wars space, where this battles in space. You know, it reminds me of? Reminds me of old pirate boat ships that, you know, worked each other out, and it's done like that. It's like dogfights, if you will. That's the majority. Yeah. It's never really on the land. But I'm intrigued to see it. But it depends how it goes, to answer your question, because it looks like they're going to base Ahsoka on the Heir to the Empire, and that book is loved. I mean, the trilogy is loved by a lot of people. If they mess that up, there's going to be hell to pay.
Brett's saying I'm thinking of the Aftermath trilogy because I think I've read the first Aftermath book, and I'm probably getting that confused with. As I say, I've read Heir to the Empire once, and it was a long time. When did that book even come out? 92 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, around early 90s. Yeah, there was the trilogy of them. But he wrote a few. He wrote Allegiance, and Allegiance to me is the Bad Batch. When I was watching the Bad Batch, I'm like, that's Timothy Zahn's Allegiance. Same thing. It was about these guys that ended up killing a commander in the Empire, and they all left and did missions everywhere. Mara Jade came with her and that kind of thing. So that's what I would do. I would take these established novelists that kept it going, because when you read, this is just my opinion, when you read a Timothy Zahn novel, it's like you're in Star Wars. It's one of the best things ever, you know. And I would have taken a lead from them and said, "What would you do?" And that, I wonder if he's involved in the you know, with the character Thrawn in live action.
So do you think if they had directly used Heir to the Empire instead of The Force Awakens, it would have been a better success? That's how it should have been, yeah. Yeah,
or done that story, but not 30 years after, 100 years after, you know, done it that way. That's a great book too. Yeah, that's in between, what is it, Empire and Jedi. Great book. Mm-hmm.
It's a great, that's great. I need to read this before Ahsoka comes on. I probably should read. What is he? Timothy Zahn.
Timothy Zahn,
yeah, he did the Thrawn trilogy, and the new Thrawn trilogy,
and the new one. So they got him back. That's interesting, and that's now canon. Whatever they brought him back for.
Yeah, he had to. Great character. They should have done him for the Force Awakens. You never know. But it depends what they're doing in Ahsoka. Instead of bringing Palpatine back and making us all go, you know, they would have introduced him.
Yeah, when they had that cackle, you know, when you heard him in the trailer going, it was exciting. But I thought, oh, that'll just be maybe a recording. Like, you know, they had that thing on that game, whatever it was called, and they had the contingency when they had Palpatine was in a robot or something, and then, you know, like a hologram, and it was just a message of what, you know, I think it was that Operation Cinder, wasn't it, the start of that, or something?
Just looked stupid when he's on that.
It was actually him.
He's got a robe like one of the Golden Girls' bedtime pajamas. He just looked daft. He just looked so daft. You know what I mean?
If you just want to say hi to a few more people who've joined us, we've got Scuba Pete is now in the chat, I see. Kevin L. And we have John Miko, the king of TVC. And that is it, I think. Oh, Darth Wizzy Wizard is in the house. I was going to throw him a link, actually, to this so he could join us, but time's ticked on, man, and I wasn't sure where you were, but not to worry. I'll see if I can arrange that. Maybe you can join us at the very end or something. But, yeah. Anyway, so hello if you're new, and thank you. There's 57 people, it says, watching us, so thank you, and do hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. I've been watching. Have you heard of who watch it? Do you watch WDW Pro? I've been watching quite a lot of them. They've appeared on Midnight's Edge. I think I've seen them on that before, and you know Midnight's Edge, don't you, Shabby? But he always says you can stick it when you click it to the algorithm. I love that. It's just a little catchphrase. Invent one of my own, maybe. Right. So where are we up to, fellas? Also, just to talk about with Mark Boudreaux passing not long ago, which is very sad news. And obviously, he was involved with the barge, and apparently every single Millennium Falcon ever made. So this is, and then that's about as far as I have gone with my knowledge on the guy. I admittedly, I haven't really looked too deeply into, you know, the rest of his career, but I understand that was he involved with Ghostbusters and other stuff as well. But I just wondered specifically if what other stuff that he sort of like vehicle wise he did for us, because, you know, with 3 3/4 inch, I mean, was he literally involved with every vehicle that we've had?
I don't know. I'm like you. I don't know too. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like I probably wouldn't have known who he was until I started really getting into the depths of collecting and understanding how these things are made. And you know, when you find out that he was responsible for the original Falcon, and then is still doing this stuff, like
amazing.
30 years, nearly 40 years later or whatever. It's quite amazing, really, isn't it? Especially, obviously, the company changed hands and, you know, bought out and whatever. But yeah, Miko, I'm sure Miko would be able to tell you exactly. He's the sort of guy that'd be able to tell you exactly what he made and everything.
Well, that'd be really good. And yeah, I was like filming and talking about him a while ago, and I was filming my AT-AT, and I was thinking, well, was he involved in that? And well, surely yes. Like, he was involved with the barge because he was in that promo, wasn't he, with Steve, Mr. Steve Evans, and they sort of like did the concept, the digital whatevers of it and everything. So fantastic. So, but anyway, that was a fairly recent thing, which is very, very, very sad. But dare I say, there'll be a lot of people in our community who probably would have met him and stuff. It would have been great to meet him. You know,
though, what his favorite Falcon was. I would have loved to, because he did the legacy. He even did the solo ones, which weren't brilliant. You know, you could just put a figure down in the back of it, and that was that. But he designed it. He made it. I'd love to know his. Because I think the Canon one must have been his favorite, the first one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess it depends, like what the nostalgia means to him, you know. Yeah. Because from an engineering or point of view, that the Legacy Falcon is a bit of it's a bit of a work of art, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's a lot more detailed and intricate than the original Falcon. But in terms, if I was responsible for the best toy ever made, well, you can't really get much more. You can't really get much better than that, can you?
Amazing design.
Yeah.
Think how many kids have flown that thing around their lounge, holding it.
And how many adults who used to be kids who owned it and now buying more of it, like, as you say, the Legacy Collection Falcon is awesome. That's the first vehicle I got, and that got me on a roll after that. Then the barge came out and I got that, and then Well, man, I've got so many vehicles now. I never thought I'd get into vehicles, but I've gone there, man. And yeah. Speaking of which, fellas, the go on, Tim.
No. I was just about to say, you know, when I was playing with Star Wars when I was a kid, it was all about the figures were great, but if I didn't have the vehicles, I don't think I would have had, as you know, the fact that I had a speeder bike that blew up, you know, a TIE fighter that blew up, things like that, man. I mean, that just made the whole Star Wars world. And people often say, you know, what's more important to you, the films or the toys? Very difficult to choose. One can't go without the other. But you know, the toys. When I was a kid, man, you know, I played with them every day for God knows how many years. You know, and I'm sure like everyone did. You know.
Sticking with the Millennium Falcon, how did you feel when you first got to Galaxy's Edge and you walk around the corner and that Millennium Falcon is just there?
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
And just bored, you know, going in it and with the seats and the chessboard.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because I don't know about you, when I used to watch Star Wars, I used to think that like the Falcon, and even Han says it, doesn't he? Like in the, you know, Chewie, we're home. That was like their base home. Like a lot of the film is in the Falcon, or it seemed like it was.
Yeah.
In that area, you've got Chewie.
Cozy, isn't it? Cozy in there.
Yeah. Just being in there, you'll love it, Nick. You really will.
Yeah, but the thing is, I've seen so many videos. So, sorry, Shabby. Go on.
I was going to say that if you know, it's only 9 hours down the road from me, and if I went there, I think that would be the epitome for me, seeing the Falcon. You know, but
it's incredible
going in it, because I remember that picture of you. You got such a big grin on your face out of that thing where the chessboard is, Tim. Do you know what I mean? He's loving it. It's like that's
incredible. Yeah.
Well, when I was there last in 2019 in August, they were doing cast member previews, so people were going in. It was excruciating for me, actually. And I did this stupid thing of like going up to a cast member who was letting the other cast members in or whatever, because they had their +1s or whatever. And I did this Jedi mind trick on him, and I said, I tried to walk past him actually to start with, and he sort of stopped me, not aggressively, but just like, oh, sir, you can't go in there. I said, you don't need to see my identification. And he was a bit like, it was a tad awkward. It wasn't funny really, but you know what I mean. That was painful, man. And then obviously you went that following Christmas, Tim, and obviously it was open by then. But anyway. What I was going to say was there's so many videos where you can see it, you know, in 4K and more. So I feel like I have already been there, but I suppose there will be no substitute for when you are actually there. Stuart, maybe
no, not at all. You can see it in all the like vlogs and on YouTube and on the telly, but when you're actually standing there seeing it, you just like I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to cry when I first saw it. It was like, wow, this is absolutely amazing. I'm just standing there looking at it, and I'm just like, wow. And it's the most. I'm a grown man, and it felt like it was the most ridiculous feeling. But if you're a Star Wars fan and you like grew up with the original trilogy, and you actually see the Falcon there, it's just an incredible feeling to see it. Absolutely.
And doesn't the new magic, you can get it to react as well? I think there's some things you can do with it, and you can make it let off steam and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it looks amazing.
No, it's just great. And then you've got the droid factory. You've got the what's it called? The cantina, Ogre's Cantina. It's just the atmosphere and the experience is just amazing. I'm really jealous, Nick, that you're going, mate. If I'm honest, really jealous.
Can't wait, man. I'll definitely. You'll be in the thoughts at Riverside, Stu.
Again, that hotel. Yeah. Oh, mate.
Let's save it, man. Let's save it for your stream.
Yours.
Save all that.
Absolutely.
All that good stuff. I just want to thank Tony Z here for a fantastic super chat there, man. And he says, for me, the saga finished at Return of the Jedi. Need I read any more than that? But yeah, exactly. He was a deadbeat, and they did that with everything. And apparently, that's what they're doing with Indiana Jones as well, man. Apparently, that's a mess. From what we've heard, but again, you know, that's just coming out of rumors from cans and whatever. But the film,
all the arguing and debating as well over the past few years has put people off a bit from the hotel because
thank you, Tony.
I would say 80% of the people, especially on YouTube, they're not fans of these trilogies. They're not fans of these TV shows, and and do you think after it's like when I saw Ray come out of that thing, my first thing was, Oh no, not again.
I know it was awful. What were they thinking? They should just leave that now. They tried it. It didn't work. It clearly didn't work. Why are they going there?
I don't think it mattered. It would have mattered if it had been based on the original trilogy, the prequels. It was the asking. It was the £6,000 for the 2 nights was the actual nail in the coffin for that hotel. Like I said, the concept is ideal.
The only people I know that went were YouTube influencers. I mean, obviously the other people did go, but basically they were guests almost because they couldn't get anyone else.
Because our friend Star Wars Obsessed, he went with his husband and they had a great time. He said the experience was brilliant. You know what I mean? He said, and he's old school like us. He's he's a fellow in his 40s and he's got a massive collection and he went for the experience. He said the experience is fantastic. Would he have liked it to have been autism? Yeah, but it's like what you lot are saying about Batuu. When you get there, you're having a good time. It's not that bad. Do you know what I mean? It's all right. But I think you hit the nail on the head, Stu. $6,000. I mean, a lot of money.
When you price out your customers, you're not going to have any customers, are you?
Absolutely.
Basically.
Or they're just catering for the incredibly rich, and they're going to get bored of it after a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're massive diehard Star Wars. I mean, the whole family, not just the one collector, the whole family. You know, it's hard to find.
But it sounded kind of exhausting as well. I mean, those actors, and hats off to them, as everyone has said this as well. You know, you've got to spare a thought for them if they're out of work now.
It does make me laugh how cheesy it gets. I remember I put a scene up once, and this fellow went up to this woman, and he grabbed her, and he was dead sick. You have the Force, and I just started laughing. This woman's got tears in her eyes. I have the Force, and I'm like, I can't.
It seemed a bit intense, the whole experience, running around and then doing missions all the time. Surely a hotel should be a bit more relaxed, and you know, could it not have been run cheaper with not having loads of actors running around, paying them, and just have regular cast members just to look after you while you're resting or get your drink or whatever? I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh God, I don't know what.
This is the first thing this has happened. It's a fully immersed thing. It's not me and Jen went to a murder mystery mansion thing for a weekend.
Yeah, it could be like that, couldn't it?
We've been doing them for, that's been going on for years. That sort of thing. You'll know, being in the theatre thing, Stu. This isn't new. You know, people pretending to be something else at Star Wars and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But again, that price tag, we would have done it if it wasn't thousands. If it was hundreds, you could save that and do it, but not thousands and thousands like that.
Put yourself in the shoes of kids. If you were a kid, what would you make of that? How would you feel, regardless of what Star Wars it was based on? You would love it, surely, as a kid.
Yeah, but if I'm spending $6,000, I don't want to hang around with a bunch of kids.
The kids aren't going to. The kids won't. You know, they'll see it and they go, "Yeah, we want to go there." And the parents are going, "Not for $6,000, you ain't, mate." Do you know what I mean? It's
$6,000. There's a bunk bed. Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
It's like what? Yeah. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not into all that.
No
role play stuff. Like even on the Falcon ride, they're telling you how to control it. You know, up is down, down is up. And I said, "What, like an aeroplane?" She goes, "What's an aeroplane?" And I it took me a while to. I said, like an aeroplane. She goes, "What's an aeroplane?" And I went,
yeah.
You're in character, silly me.
I know what you mean.
But like, I'm not really into all of that. Just get me on the ride. I'll enjoy the ride, and then I just want to get off. I don't need all the sort of theatrics that go with it. But some people love all that, So
not every Star Wars fan is a cosplayer. I can think of nothing worse really than running around. I don't know, man. Even there's an outgoing, I'm up for doing a few impressions of people in Star Wars and acting a bit of a clown and stuff. I still don't like the idea of throwing myself in.
Keep it up for 2 days. They showed that part where you can, for an extra $800, whatever, you can sit at the captain's table, right? So I watched this video. These people are saying, the captain turns, "So where are you from?" "Endor." "Oh, I've heard that the Ewoks are real." And I'm like, I can't keep that up for half an hour. No. I'm a fat boy. I just want to have my burger. "Oh yeah, Endor."
But going back to what you said, Tim, it's really weird because the girl that was playing Rey, she was there, and to be fair, she looked half decent, as in like looking like Rey. And I said to her, we
careful, Stuart, your wife is in the chat.
I know. I said, "You look like the girl that was here in 2019. Are you the same Rey? Are you the same girl?" And she goes, "There's only one Rey." And I kept asking, and Georgie was going, no, shoot. And I was like, okay. And then you go to a shop or a store, and then you say, oh, have you got this? And they say, no, it's off Galaxy. And I'm like, what? Yeah. It takes you a while, doesn't it? Just for it to sink in that. Oh God! But yeah, it's good. It's good what they do.
That's the thing with J.K. Rowling. I think I'm right on this. I think she's specifically stated that in the Universal Park, she didn't want to see, or she I think that you can't see Hagrid or Harry or any of them running around because she didn't want that, which is fair enough. But you know, with Star Wars, you can get away with it because a lot of people are behind a mask anyway. But with the Rey, it does sort of. I've seen a few pictures of those Reys. They're, as you say, they're half decent, Stuart, but it's still not quite right.
As a lookalike, Nick. As a lookalike, mate. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see a lookalike Luke. He'd better be damn good for me to give it the okay. But unless he was like a doppelganger, I wouldn't have it, man.
Can you imagine? Bright sun, Shabby. Hey, mate, you all right? You know.
What? Do you know what they need to do, Shabby? They need to put invent a TV screen you can put on your face, mate. You can get real time deep fake, mate. You can have Luke Skywalker that way, mate.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? I don't know.
Wow, interesting stuff. Right, where are we up to here, boys? Oh yeah, so Star Wars 3 3/4 inch. We talk a bit more about that. We did at the beginning. So Haslab, boys. Now, I'll start the ball rolling. What with all this stuff with Ewoks and stuff on Tungori, and there's quite a lot of stuff going on with Ewoks. And I'm building my own collection, and I'm actually quite interested in the idea of an Ewok village. Now.
Yeah, I'd buy that definitely.
In fact, I was talking to Ian Butler.
You know, all this other stuff's Endor related. You know,
yeah. I was speaking with Ian Butler actually, and he was showing me the land speeder Luke 6-inch, whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. What's village or whatever? A few platforms it is, and it looked awesome, man. I'd love that in 3 3/4 inch. I think it would be awesome, really good. But I don't know what they do.
At the 40th anniversary, do you think Haslab will be hitting Return of the Jedi some way?
No.
Is the ghost just a red herring, Tim? What's the word? What's the scoop?
I personally think that it will be the ghost. Yeah, I don't know, but I personally think it will be the ghost. just from the rumors and stuff, and the way people have reacted when we're at Celebration and someone actually shouted out, "Is it the ghost?" and the reaction of the team. I think the cat's out of the bag with that one personally.
What did he say back to that, Patrick? He just said, so bad the way he deflected it. So he almost gave it away. The way I don't know.
There was a part on that panel where they said no, and then one of them, it was a girl that's not on as regular as the rest of them, and she went, "Like it, you will." As something like she did like a Yoda, and I thought, are they doing something with Yoda here? Because just the way she said it, you know what I mean? And I thought, hang on a minute, is that shouldn't she have done that? I don't know.
I think it's one of those things that fans have been calling for it, not everybody. So it'll be interesting to see how it fares. You've got the Rebels cartoon that kind of connects everything. If you watch the Rebels cartoon, it does sort of feed off into lots of different, everything sort of comes back to Rebels. And the fact that the Rebels characters and the Ghost are going to be in the Ahsoka show, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So.
I'm not, as someone who's not massively into Rebels, I do like the Ghost, and that's obviously, this will hook a lot of other people in as well. It is a Macquarie, isn't it? The design is, so it's very in the fabric of Star Wars, and very much so. So I'll get one. I won't be getting more than one though. That's ridiculous.
It's going to be huge though, isn't it? If it is the Ghost.
It will be, yeah. It'll probably be bigger than the Legacy Falcon without question. I guess. I can imagine
a lot more expensive than the Legacy Falcon as well.
Wow. It'll be wide.
So, Shabby, you said if it was an Ewok village, Shabby, would that not tempt you into getting it?
Yeah, I'd definitely get that. I would definitely. My Canon one's up there, and it's one of my favorite things. I love it. You know what I mean? And I think there's so many vehicles that have come, which is nice and so forth. But I think they've never. I mean, I know they've done the Tantive playset, the Bespin, and all that sort of stuff, the $50 ones. But I think they've done so many vehicles. It would be nice to do something different. Like a playset. Like that Jabba's throne. I won't be getting that Jabba's palace, but it looks fantastic. Do you know what I mean? And
Well, that's the thing. They should do an Ewok village in that vein, shouldn't they? Really, that's not a Haslab. So it'd be great, wouldn't it? A few bits of vegetation maybe to go in with it, like those train model sets or whatever.
Well, that Jabba's Palace is going to be retail, right? So I don't think I'd pay the money. It's nearly $250 for it, but if it goes down, I'll pick that up because it's fantastic.
Yeah, but it was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, and you can't get it anymore.
So I see. So even though it's going to be retail, you had to pre-order it. You had to get it that way and done like that. Got you. Well, you just saved me 250 quid, Timothy. Thank you very much.
Can I just say, Martin from a long time ago is in the chat. And he's going to be getting the Jabba's Palace, but he's only wanting it for the figure. So he wants to then pass the Jabba's Palace on. So if anybody's interested in a palace,
he's a carded collector. He's a purely carded collector, though, right?
So he only wants the figure. So he's going to be selling.
And this is the conundrum I'm in. I'm not only do I have the channel where I review stuff, I also am a carded collector as well.
Oh, is this Fat Bib? I wouldn't want him because I didn't like that whole scene anyway. I'd seen to keep that carded, so I've got no regrets of only having one of them to open.
Yeah, I'll be opening.
I don't want that loose.
It's going to be a tough open, that, isn't it?
No, I don't want that. I mean, but Bib Fortuna should look like he did in Return of the Jedi. This is just me. This is, but for that one tiny scene when he sat on the thing. Boba! Terrible. Man. Yeah. Awful, huh?
Yeah, maybe you're convincing me that I don't need to open it, but I don't know.
Yeah, just film it, Tim, in the bubble like BOE.
So you're all in agreement then it's going to be a vehicle. That's what you all think. It's definitely a vehicle.
I don't know. It's just I'm not privy to any inside information. Or
I don't think anybody knows for sure, but I just think, like if you go on Yak Face's website, for example, he's got it listed. So that tells you, and he, so I don't know, but
yeah.
And he, yeah, amazing. Wow. Looking forward.
If it is that, I think it'll be pretty cool. It's just whether it's got enough, like people that are like the Razor Crest was universally loved, wasn't it? Even though they destroyed it, everybody at the time was loving the Mandalorian. The ship was getting a lot of notoriety. It looked pretty cool. They promised a load of figures that were going to go with it and all that kind of stuff. The Ghost is based on something from a cartoon. That is the thing. So, and a lot of people, as I said, have been calling for it. It's whether they put their money where their mouth is and actually back it.
So when's Ahsoka coming out?
August.
And when's San Diego Comic-Con?
July, I think.
Why did they not have Ahsoka come out before San Diego Comic-Con? And then if it is the Ghost, then they can say, at least people will get to see the ship and get to see it in live action.
The backing will last a month, won't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah.
That's a good point. It's just like when we got figures before the movies came out, we bought them, we were intrigued, and that's probably why they do it. If it is the Ghost, and then when you see it in the, thank God I back that. Do you know what I mean? It might be doing it that way to get you hyped
Possibly.
up.
Yeah.
And because you will get many people that just love Rebels and they'll buy it because it was the main ship in Rebels, won't it? And they've wanted
it'll probably back, but it won't have as many, I don't reckon, as we sort of said before. With that whole period, we were all had more money than we.
I don't think it'll get anywhere close. I don't think it'll get if it's the Ghost. I don't think it'll get anywhere close to what the Razor Crest got.
No. I think that was happened with the Rancor as well, because the Rancor was an awesome looking figure, but at the time, right in the middle of the pandemic, at $350, everyone was like, no chance. I think that's what put a lot of people off.
Oh, speaking of the Ghost, we've got this gentleman here. I wouldn't mind watching your video again, Johnny Star Wars.
Yeah, he made a very good one, didn't he?
Yeah, that was awesome.
I don't think Hasbro's, if they do one, would be that big, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Do you know what? You're saying about how big it'll be. The reason I've got this massive thing in my head is because of him and his massive stingray thing. Anyway, yeah, no, we'll find out in due course.
Let's just hope that whatever it is, let's hope they market it well, and the if there's stretch goals or whatever they are, tiers, let's hope there's something actually good, because the Rancor was a bit of a joke, wasn't it? Really, here's some stones and some skulls.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. You're asking people for 350 quid up front, and you're showing us digital pictures. Then you're showing us all. You should have had it made and done and got everybody excited.
What there should be, Shabby, mate, is there should be tears for a Haslab and not tears, mate, with the Rancor, mate. You know what I mean? that did die a death. That was a shame, wasn't it? That because, I mean, even I probably would have. I probably would have got one of them, But the thing is about the stretch goals, I remember watching them rolling in on that stream, and it was very weird. I can't even remember what they were now, but they were not at all what I expected them to choose.
There was like Skywalker. Does everyone want Ool or the Rancor keeper? And they didn't.
The first
Gamma Guard.
Yeah. So when they did the Rancor, when they did the actual Rancor, I thought I don't want this. It's not my scale. I don't really want it. And then when they showed the stretch goal of the Power of the Force Gamma Guard, I thought, like some other people, like you mentioned, the guys from the channel that you had said that they would sell the set but keep the card. That's maybe what I would have done with the Rancor. I probably would have said, well, someone else can have the Rancor because I just want that Power of the Force with the coin Gamma Guard, because the Gamma Guard is my favorite figure from the Black Series. And I think with those swanning around in people's collections, I'd be really jealous not having one. But then when it just carried on with and here's some rocks, and then then it was Luke, which you've already got, and then trying to salvage it by saying, okay, you can have the Rancor Keeper. The Rancor Keeper should have been the first thing, or even just included with it. You know. And that's where they, in my opinion, that's where they messed it, the whole thing up. They didn't really understand.
That was the thing. Sorry, Tim. They threw that in, didn't they, at the end? That's right.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, it was like a afterthought. That sugar. We need to.
Another thing too, you said something interesting before about when the Razor Crest came out. They were introducing loads of Mandalorian figures or hearing about that went with this Razor Crest. When the Rancor did for Black Series, there was the Skiff Guard. We haven't had a Nick 2. We haven't had a Weequay. We haven't had a Rancor Keeper, so there's so many things that we didn't have to go with this Rancor. Maybe that's what people. I thought, well, but is it going to go with?
This is where I think they struggle in sort of knowing their audience, and also as collectors as well, in the scale that you choose to collect. Because I personally don't think if you're into the 6-inch figures, I think you're going to be waiting a very long time, probably forever, to get a Nikto, a Woof, a Rancor Keeper, those sorts of figures. I just don't think they're going to do them. They're going to give you, when the Skeleton Crew film series comes out, you'll get all those characters. You'll get the Andor characters. You'll get, all of those, like the main characters from those things. The vintage collection won't. They'll fall behind,
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It's like if you put the Rancor Keeper in a box and put him on Walmart, would he be a peg warmer? And I think the answer is yes, he would.
Only us would buy it. Yeah, I understand.
The hardcore people would buy him, but I think the hardcore collectors probably collect TVC.
Yeah,
but that's just my opinion.
No, it makes sense what you're saying. It makes perfect sense, especially when. I mean, thankfully, they've gone back to windowless boxes on Black Series now, which was a good idea. But you're right. If they would have kept those black boxes and then you've got a Rancor Keeper on that, I don't think, it'd end up being a peg warmer. I agree. So,
yeah, just Neil Lowry, who's left another super chat there. Thank you, Neil. And sorry, I can't see what it says now. I'm trying to share a screen. Yeah, I hope the next Haslab doesn't cater to the current media. Fans have spoken. We're screaming for a Sandcrawler. I was thinking about the Sandcrawler earlier, Neil, because I haven't mentioned it, or we haven't really, because all our minds are kind of plagued or whatever, what's the word, blinded or whatever by the fact that we've heard this rumor about the ghost. So we know it's not going to be a Sandcrawler, which is really sad because that would be awesome. But maybe one day, I think it would be brilliant. That wouldn't it?
Sandcrawler's been at the top of my list ever since day one. And the shuttle would be another great one, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh, with Simalu packed in. But the barge. Do you think that it would be like a double-decker barge, Tim, in scale, if they did a Sandcrawler? Would that be too big, or would that be about right, feasible scale-wise?
Of what? Sorry.
Like, so if you imagine that you had the barge, didn't you? That the length of that barge was, it wasn't how was it 4 foot? Was it
4 foot? Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they just doubled it up like a double decker barge, so
Yeah,
maybe that long, maybe a bit shorter, but just double size.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I don't think
height. I meant to say height.
Star Wars ships have never been in scale with the figures, have they?
No,
ever, right? And the Sandcrawler is massive. We
do better than the 6-inch line.
The Sandcrawler is a huge thing, so it would never, if you stood it next to the Razor Crest, it'd be impossible to make it. I think they, even parks it next to in the Mandalorian, doesn't it? And the scale's just ridiculous. So they're never going to be able to do that. But I think they could make it, big enough so it looks pretty cool with all the droids in front, and and they could dual purpose it between the Mandalorian and the original trilogy or whatever. So I don't know. I think it'd be pretty cool anyway.
I refuse to buy any of those other available Sandcrawlers because they just look way too small, man.
Yeah,
I didn't mind with the Royal Starship, the Naboo Royal Starship. I'd let that off because it just looks so nice. But yeah, with the Sandcrawler, I want that bigger. So even the ones at the Disney parks were not big enough for my personal taste. But anyway, interesting. Right, do you know what? I might do the duck race, boys, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's have a break from all this chat and have a little bit of a light relief. So let me just share the screen. This was for people who commented on a community post where I asked if you had any questions for Only One fans. And I think there's 11 people commented with a good question. I haven't answered them all yet, but I'm going to get around to that soon. So all I need to do is just share the screen. Just bear with me. One moment. Duck race.
I did the duck race on a Patreon thing, and you can change it to like Star Wars or movie things. I'd like the Scout Walker like walking across the screen.
Okay. So you should be able to see the names. Oh, that's not it. They're the generic names. Bear with me.
Just run it on those, Nick, and pretend to send the patch out.
Yeah. Yeah, Rory, what the hell? Well done, Rory. You've won. Yeah. So, did you see the list? You have a look at the names. Can you see this still, boys? I can't see what.
Yeah, we can see it. Yeah.
We've got the Idol animator, James Armstrong, King Lalafel, Star Wars Duels, Bradley Harvey, John Warwick, Roloff Donker, Emperor Vals, Colonel Angus, Tyrant 96, and William Millay. And some of them I have answered. But let's go for it. I've made it a minute because otherwise it's just too long. Let the race commence. All the best, lads. And they're off. Yeah, I do like that.
Awesome.
And it's a good start. Well, this could be bad for Roloff Donk if you're running out of steam too soon, man.
That's
yeah.
Keep the idle animator looking almost a little bit idle on the.
I'm going to go John Warwick.
Bradley Harvey's my money's on Bradley Harvey. He's going to.
Armstrong might come into a burst. Yeah, it's only half the time gone. Oh. So this is for a patch, and only one Kenobi patch.
I don't know any of you guys, but come on, John. Oh, look at that. Say he's falling at the back now. Sorry, mate.
Bradley Hart. Go on, Bradley. No.
10 seconds.
Oh, here he comes. Come on, John.
Aye.
Come on, John Warwick.
John's going to do it.
Come on, my son. Get in there.
Academic at this stage. Congratulations to John Warwick.
Awesome.
That's
stuff.
for an Only One Kenobi patch. I feel
Stu actually wrote the software to the duck race thing.
It's a good job Gary Moore's not in the chat, otherwise he'd be shouting fix.
Yeah,
that was great colour commentary, that fellas. Yeah. I was going to do another one as well, but it's too late now. I was going to do that one at the beginning of the stream, but we all got stuck into conversation, and then I was going to do another one later. But it doesn't matter. Do another one.
Just do
Should we do another one? Should we get some names in there?
Another one.
The people watching. I'll tell you what. Hit number 1 in the chat if you want to win an Only One Kenobi patch. And then, can you fellas shout out some names for me while I bloody hell? I've just shut down the duck thing. Yeah, hang on a minute. Let's get it back. Anyone who puts number 1 in the chat. Shout
Number
to me.
1.
Right, yeah. Okay, right, yeah.
Hang on. Whoa. Yeah, hang on. Wait.
GA.
Is that GA? Yeah.
The GA. Right, here we go. Let's get rid of Rory again and Lila, Aaron, George,
Kevin,
and Rosalind.
Kevin L, SBS,
SBS Production.
Kevin,
John Miko,
L,
Our Des.
Martin
Des,
from Long and Along.
Daniel Chart,
John Miko.
Darth Kenobi.
right,
Daniel
Darth,
Chart, aka Gamorrean Guard cosplayer.
is that Justin?
Yeah, Justin
Is that an
Welsh.
actual person, Gamorrean Guard cosplayer?
He said it in the chat earlier.
Oh, no, he
if
did,
it's the
didn't he? I was just going to say,
Yeah.
okay.
Neil
Okay, so
Larry.
can I just tell you what I've got so far? I've got Kevin L, GA, Miko, Des, Martin, and Daniel Chart.
Neil Lowry.
Oh, yeah,
Jedi
Neil.
Berry. Brett on Fett.
SBS Productions.
Have you got Darth Kenobi?
SBS. Yeah.
GeForce Racing.
Oh, GeForce. Yeah, great.
Wally Gog. I'm not sure that one's a real person, but it could be.
Have you got Darth
was that?
Kenobi?
Bespin Betrayal.
I've got Darth Kenobi.
Yeah.
Darth Kenobi.
Bespin who?
Betrayal.
Bespin
I like
Betrayal.
Bespin. Yeah.
Well, that's a good name, isn't it? I've just got a vision of Han Solo rocking the jacket now.
I'm not reading that next one. Someone else can
What
read
is
that.
it?
Yeah.
The outrageous, is it?
Go on, Tim. You go for it, mate.
I'm not. No,
That's got to be it.
I read out the other one. You know, so
Oh,
you
fair
can
enough.
read out
Yeah,
that one.
Bespin Betrayal. Have I missed anyone here? Let me just look through it. Justin Welsh. Have I got Justin in
Oh,
there?
Jumpy McClunky.
Good old
Yeah, I haven't
Jumpy.
got Justin in. So Justin, you're just in time, Justin. Jumpy,
Yeah, Jumpy McClunky.
Did you get a long time ago, Martin? Did
Oh
you
yeah,
get
a
him?
long time ago. I don't want to have missed anybody here.
Middle-aged Kiwi man.
Yeah.
Jedi Berry.
Jedi Berry. Yeah.
You missed one, Shabby. Is Dick Enormous? What a bloke he is.
Hang on a minute, who's that?
It's what's come up.
This is outrageous. I'm not having
It
this.
does come up.
Oh dear.
How many
Dicky
accounts has Christian got?
what?
We all know it's you, Seamoles. Yeah.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Big
Man of
moles,
1,000 accounts.
Christian, Smuggler's Canyon, Dick's Enormous, Wally Gog.
Should we let it roll now, boys?
Yeah,
I've
go
got
on.
middle-aged Kiwi man. I think that's the last
it.
one.
Middle-aged Kiwi. Oh, yes, bro. Let's get you in, man.
Get him in.
I'm going to put Jazz on there. Jazz. I'm going to do
Jazz.
that, man. Right. Should we do 1 minute again?
Yeah.
Let's have it. Oh, hang on. You can't see what's that. Let me just share the screen, boys. Hang on. Tidy up. Here we go. Duck race. Should be seeing it now. Are we full screen? Use the full screen. Hang on. Let me just double check that, boys, actually. No, it's not. Not yet. Hang on. Names are still there. Please still be there. Fook. Oh, Fook.
What? You've not done that. Have you edited the list? What have you done? Have you deleted them all?
When you go, I did this. Oh, Jesus Christ! I did this before. Backstage. I've got to type everyone bloody in again now. Can you see that? There's Rory again. Jesus, excuse me, I can't.
Oh, let's go from the top.
Come on, but sorry, lads. Can I have a few more names? Sorry.
Right, you've got GA.
Sorry about this. Go on, yeah.
Kevin L.
Kevin L.
SBS Productions. I think that's SBS. I ain't got my glasses.
Yes. Yeah.
Des T.
Yep.
John Miko.
Miko.
Yep. Darth Kenobi.
Kenobi.
Martin from long time ago.
Martin, yeah. Hang on.
Daniel Chart. Justin Welsh.
Justin.
Neil.
BLL, yeah.
Jedi Berry.
I'm making loads of spelling mistakes here, but anyway, Jedi.
Yeah,
That's
Berry.
the Danish version of Daniel.
Brett on Fett.
Daniel chat. Yes, yeah. Yes. Yes.
Brett on Fett. You got Brett.
Yeah, Brett.
Yeah. G-Force in.
Yeah, G-Force.
Wally Gog. I mean, he's a top bloke as well, isn't he?
That's what it can't...
Best Spin Portrayal. Yeah, that'll do. Best Spin Portrayal.
Oh, hang on. Best Spin Betrayal.
Oh, God. Wilma Dickfit. Oh, Jesus Christ. You just can't make this up, can you? Jumpy McClunky.
Jumpy. I'll put Jumpy, yeah.
Yeah. My mate, Dick Enormous.
Is it D-Y-I-E or Y?
That'll do. And middle-aged Kiwi man.
Here we go.
Good job, Stu. Good job.
Oh, cheers. And that's without me.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to copy all this now. Hang on. No, I can't.
Just in case, yeah.
No, I can't. Shit. Sugar. I should have put that on what do you call it? On a Microsoft document like I did the other names. Right, here we go, boys. Oh, it's a 10-second. Oh, Jesus.
Just
if I come out of this, well, the names have gone again.
You're going to have to leave it. You're going to have to leave it.
So just do a 10-second race.
Yeah.
It's a sprint.
All the best, guys.
Oh, some sprint.
Wow. Oh, my
I'm not
God.
gonna call this one.
Kevin Hill.
Yeah.
That actually was better in a way. That was kind of like snappy, that race there. Sorry about the delay, ladies and gentlemen. Well done, Kevin L. We'll do a little bit of a verification. If you're on social media, Kevin, message me on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and we'll sort out getting you a patch. Thank you very much. And on that bombshell, fellas, should we draw this to a close? Any final thoughts from all of yous? If we all just go around the table and wrap it up. Tim, please, the floor is yours.
About what we've been talking about.
Well, it's been good to have you all, lads. But I just, if you let me put the details up. If you haven't already followed these people, which is ridiculous me saying this because I'm sure we all do. Everyone in the chat is following each other and blah, blah, blah. But I just put up the details. Please do follow my guests. Tim from Bosk's Bounty there. Then you've got Stuart right there. And you've got Mark Shabby Geek right down there. And it's been great. So, yeah, that's all really.
No, it's been good.
If anyone had any final thoughts.
Yeah. It's been good to see everyone. And I know we speak all the time, Nick, but I haven't seen your face for such a long time. So no, it's been good, and it's been good to speak to Shabby again, and Stu obviously. It's been awesome. So thanks for arranging it and having me on and what have you. It's been awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And do you know what, Tim? Somebody did say in the comments of one of my videos, they said, "Oh, you need to get back with Tim and finish off that."
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I get a few people saying that. Shout. Yeah, we do need to do that.
Good.
Yeah. Where are we up to with it? I can't remember. Is it Mandalorian? Have we done that yet?
We've got the Clone Wars to do, and we've got the Mandalorian to do, and then I think the sequel trilogy killed it, didn't it? It killed our enthusiasm for it. Like, oh my God.
You know what? I'm glad about because we've had a few things. I had my Colt delivered recently. I opened him as well. I haven't got another Blitz to open, but I might not bother with him. But Colt, I really wanted him loose. So I had 3 of them by accident. I had 3 delivered. That's my own mistake, but still. So what my point is, we've got more cards for Clone Wars, and that's good. So
yeah, I definitely wanted to wait for those because we knew they were coming. So now we've got them or whatever we can. Yeah, so it's definitely the Mando and Clone Wars, and we did Rogue One and Solo, didn't we? We did that. So I think we're there. It's just those 2. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that Blitz card back was really good. So obviously that'll come in our discussion because it's all based on the card as well as the figure, isn't it? But we'll do that, man. That'd be awesome, Tim.
Yeah.
And and Stuart, what have you got coming up, my friend?
So I've got I'm interviewing a guy tomorrow. Should be an interesting chat. So that'll be out on Monday, and then next Friday, I've got episode 44, My Collecting Life, and then maybe on Wednesday a random box opening. Who knows? I might not even do a video. It depends how I'm feeling. But yeah. But I just want to say thank you for having me on the channel, Nick. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. Thank you.
No one better than you to have on today's show, Stuart, because full well I knew we would be talking about some stuff Disney related as well as Star Wars, obviously. Disney parks related, and you're the man for that. And of course, Shabby, it's always a pleasure, man. And thanks for not swearing. Tim was the one who swore today, mate.
yeah. Oh no, I mean, I've enjoyed it because it's refreshing. Not one of us has turned around and said we hate it. Not one of us has turned around and said we're never doing this. It's because of the love and the passion we have for this franchise, for the toys, for the movie. It's nice to get things off your chest and talk about stuff. But does that mean when that Rey movie comes out, we're not going to see it? Of course we are. We'll always support this. And
fingers bloody crossed, we will.
And that's the thing. It's nice. That's how long this franchise and our love for it's been going for. We can have conversations like this. The good and the bad. So yeah, but apart from all that, I might do a video when I go to Joe Fest. I don't know. I've never been to a convention like this. Do a lot of people film, or can you not be like when you went to ICC? Did you film a lot, or could you not be bothered?
Shabby, mate, I'm the worst at that, and I really, considering I have a YouTube channel, I really should, and like interview people, like meeting Stu and meeting whoever. I was on the Out of the Basement.
Yeah, I know.
6-inch guys. They were there and they were like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And we we had a bit of a chat, and they recorded me on their channel, and I thought to myself, I've got no footage whatsoever because I'm just useless at it. I can't. Yeah. I just think the production value won't be there or anything, and I just can't do it. So I'm the worst at it, mate. So it's not really worth asking me about that. But I got zero footage of like video footage of ICCC. Zero.
Yeah. Right.
The thing is, I went around Celebration Shabby with a gimbal because I just acquired a gimbal. I bought a gimbal, and I thought, well, what better place to take it than there? But it was so hard because there were so many people. I could sort of like lift above people's heads and use it as it should be used for keeping a camera steady, but it was still difficult. It was just way too busy Celebration at times.
I can understand why people do it because it's good showing other people there and the people that you meet and all that, but I'm trying to enjoy my experience there. The last thing I want to be doing is filming stuff. And I just think at that point, like, it's almost like a holiday for me, that. So the channel side of it sort of was in the back of my mind. You know what I mean? I knew I'd do like a video of the things that I've got.
Yeah. I don't want to focus just on the videos. I'd rather focus on the experience of being there. So I might do something right now. I used to like Stu used to do this thing where he used to walk in the fields, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
You stopped doing those.
I did stop doing those because no bugger was watching them.
I watched them, Stu. I watched them.
I might do another one. I might do another one. I won't walk so far this time because I'm getting old. You know what I mean? It's a tiring hard work.
Do it naked. Yeah. Do it naked next time.
Do it naked. yeah. Awesome. That'd be different, wouldn't it? Can I just say as well, right? We've had a thoroughly adult conversation tonight, and like Shabby said, no one said they hate anything. Right? We can't like everything Disney. Right? Disney have done some good stuff with Star Wars. They've also done some very poor stuff with Star Wars. It's all about personal opinions. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Nothing more than that. So.
Well said. That's a good way to end there. Thank you, Stuart, for that. And also, thank you. Tony Z there has dropped another little super sticker, which is really generous. You're a very generous guy, Tony, and I appreciate your support, and thank you so much because you've already dropped something tonight. So that was really kind at the very end there. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we shall end there on that lovely note from Stuart and that nice little super sticker there from Stuart. Thank you, everybody who's watched, and thank you to my guests.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've really enjoyed that, lads, tonight. Brilliant. We can stay all night, couldn't we?
Awesome.
It'd be awesome. All right, then. Take care until next time. I've been Only One Kenobi. Only one. And my guests out. See you soon. End broadcast.